So there are several ways to go about this question. We could use the answer choices. For example, if we thought that was the answer, we plug in a as -1. We get this equation, which becomes absolute value of x minus 1 is 1. And you'll see this will have two solutions. You can even just kind of observe one is 0 and the other one is 2. So you'll have only two solutions. So clearly this one is out. Now, if we try other answer choices, for example, x is 0, you can either kind of use algebra here. So we'll have to kind of divide the number line where these quantities inside are positive or negative. So for example, if we start with x is greater than 1, then both of these are positive. So that becomes x plus x minus 1 is 2, 2x is 3. So we have one solution. Now next we have to consider x is between 0 and 1. Actually, we just look at x is less than 1 and greater than 0. In that case, the quantity here is positive, so that just becomes x. And x minus 1 would be negative in this range. So we have to take minus of x minus 1. And that becomes minus x plus 1. And you'll see this isn't true. So no solution in this region. And we kind of continue with x is less than 0, the third region in the number line. And this becomes minus x. And x minus 1 will also be negative. So that becomes minus x plus 1. So it's parentheses here. So that becomes minus 2x is 1. So x is minus half. So you have either just one solution, a total of two solutions, I should say. And so that one is also out. If we consider C, it becomes that. And this one, I have seen it before, this sort of a structure where if we look at it geometrically, this is minus 1, this is 1, then absolute value of x minus 1, let's say x is here, that's this distance. That's the geometric interpretation of this absolute value, is the distance of x to point 1. And then absolute value of x plus 1 is really x minus minus 1. So the geometric meaning is that that's the distance of x to minus 1. So this is absolute value of x plus 1. And you'll notice here is that no matter where x is between minus 1 and 1, the sum of these two quantities will be always equal to 2, which is really the distance between minus 1 and 1. So all values between minus 1 and 1 will satisfy this equation, which means that it will have an infinite number of solutions as long as x is any number between minus 1 and 1. So 0.2, 0.76, so on and so forth. So the correct answer would be C. And depending on if this is how I was doing in the exam, I wouldn't worry about D. But for completion, let me just do it by using algebra, just as I did here. And I would recommend that you're very comfortable doing that in the exam with similar types of questions. So again, we have to divide the number line so that we can remove these absolute value signs. So if we consider the case x greater than 1 here, this is positive, so that becomes 2x equal to 2. That's one solution. Then next we consider x between minus 1 and 1, which was the case I described here. And this would be positive, so that becomes x plus 1. And then that would be negative. And that means this becomes minus x plus 1. And you see the x term drops out, 2 equal to 2. So no matter where x is, all of these would always satisfy this. And that's where the infinite solution is coming. And then we kind of do the same thing with x a is equal to 2. Of course, in the exam, you don't have to do this, but make sure you're comfortable doing this. Again, removing the absolute value sign. So for example, again, x is greater than 1. This is positive, that is positive. So you'll get this solution, x equal to half. and you kind of keep doing this for the other regions, and you'll find that's not the answer. So, I mean, it is still a hard question, but I'll recommend that you're comfortable solving these kind of absolute value equations, all of these examples in the exam. So to summarize, the answer is C.